Okay, so here is a discussion of your assignment 2 for FOED. It starts off the cover page. It is one that I added. This is not actually part of the question, but it puts us into perspective. So Paulo Freire, who is the father of critical theory, basically says education does not change the world. Education changes people, and people change the world. And that is kind of what his whole theory is based on. Let's start off with question 1. They start off with giving us a quote, and this is in the actual document. And the quote says, education is not an affair of telling, of telling and being told, but active and constructive process. And it's John Dewey, and he's the father of pragmatism. So they continue after this picture, and they give us a background into pragmatism. And they say here, the above quote by John Dewey is a key principle of pragmatism. Some of the other key principles of pragmatism are: give importance to action, emphasizes the importance of experience, believes in change, believes that growth and development takes place through interaction and environment, emphasizes experimentation, humanistic philosophy, and deep faith in democracy. So what exactly do you need to do? So based on the above principles of pragmatism, you need to compile a lesson of 60 minutes for a grade that you are required to teach. With other words, in your case, it could be grade 7, because most of you are, although you're doing intermediate phase in 4th year, we do cover grade 7. So you're welcome to use that. You could also use any of your previous lesson plans that you then just adapt accordingly. You're going to have to justify how and why you will integrate the philosophy of pragmatism into your lesson. Please take note, you do not use the prescribed lesson plan template, but rather compile it based on certain headings that I am going to provide you with. So let's take it step by step. The first big one, every single time you link anything in your lesson plan to the concept of pragmatism, you need to reference it. So where did you find out that ABC is aligned with pragmatism? Which source did you use? We can't use our general knowledge. That's not good enough. So reference your sources. Sorry, just hold on. Sorry, everyone, that was just a query from campus. So everybody understands, every single time in your lesson plan, you link anything to pragmatism, reference it. So let's move on. The first thing you need to do for 5 marks is state the grade and the subject. And then you've got to tell me, why is pragmatism a suitable philosophy for the chosen grade and subject? So stick to the phase or the grades. Remember, I also teach this in the PGCE space, so a lot of them teach a specific subject. So the grade level consideration. If you've decided to use grade 7, you need to consider the cognitive and developmental characteristics of learners at that grade. A grade 7 child is going to be able to be more interactive with their peers than, for argument's sake, a grade 4 child when it comes to the discussion of theory. So reflect on how the principles of pragmatism align with the cognitive abilities and the developmental needs of learners at that specific grade level. This requires you to understand psychology. So you could use your psychology textbook from your first or second year that you did it, or you could use any other source. But basically what we are looking at here is, why would that grade be the perfect one or the ideal one for us to use pragmatism within the lesson? So you need to give me at least 2 arguments for that one. Then we need to move on to the subject. So evaluate the relevance of pragmatism to the chosen subject. Consider how the principles of pragmatism can be applied effectively within the context of the subject matter. Reflect on whether the subject lends itself well to hands-on learning, experimentation, and experiential activities. And those are all the center aspects of pragmatism. So you need to give me at least 3 arguments there. If you want to, you can even bullet these, because it's not requiring you to do this in essay format at all. Remember, every time you link something with pragmatism, you need to reference it. Then we move on to the next section. So we finish now with the grade and the subject. We now move on to lesson objectives. So although I say no more than 3, I'm telling you guys, you need to use 3. You can't have more than that. You can't really have less, because then you're not going to get your 10 marks. So these must come out of the CAPS doc. Now, it doesn't mean it has to come word for word from the CAPS document, but it needs to be in line with what CAPS states. And because of that, you need to reference your CAPS document. If you forgot how to do it, you are literally going to go in brackets DBE, 2011. All our CAPS documents are referenced like that. Unless you're using the TP ones, then it's a bit of a different story, but let's not go in there. So you need to identify and articulate clear, concise learning objectives for the lesson. Consider the key knowledge, skills, and attitudes that students would acquire when they do your lesson, and then align it with pragmatism. You've got to do 3 things. You've got to align the objective with pragmatism, and then you have to justify for me. So justify how each objective aligns with the philosophy of pragmatism. That's what you've got to do over here. So you need to provide a reason as to why it functions the way it does. I will share an example of a good assignment too, to help you to understand how to do it. Ultimately, this last bullet is important. Explain how achieving the objectives will contribute to learners' holistic development, including their ability to navigate real-world challenges and apply their learning in practical contexts. So now it was 3 objectives. We now move on to 2 strategies. So you need to identify 2 strategies. You can't use more than that. You can only use 2 strategies. And you are going to have to say to me, how do those specific strategies encourage pragmatism within the classroom? So take note of the typical strategies of teaching that we use in pragmatism. It was listed beforehand. It requires active participation, hands-on exploration, and experiential learning. So use strategies that actually reflect that. These tend to be learner-centered. So you guys, I think if I'm correct, your prescribed textbook for your teaching experience module is Killian. You can use Killian textbook for this, or alternatively any other teaching strategy. If you are stuck and you're not sure, go Google search which teaching strategies align with pragmatism, and I'm sure you're going to find stacks. So you've got to find 2 and explain them to me in detail. You've got to reference it according to the textbook or the source that you get the actual strategy from. Then you're going to link it to pragmatism and reference that as well. And that is then your alignment. So 3 objectives, 2 teaching strategies, and finally 1 activity. The activity needs to explain, you need to explain to me, how does that activity add to pragmatism. So you've got three things that you need to do. The first thing is you need to describe your activity. Now, this is going to be in your own words, whatever it is that you want to do. So it might not require a reference if everything that you are saying is your own words, not a problem. Then you're going to justify why pragmatism would be ideal, or how does this activity align with pragmatism. So that is your other section. And then very important, the last little bit is, does this activity help you, the teacher, to figure out whether your class met their learning objectives? With other words, if you say to me in one of your objectives would be for the children to understand evaporation as a process, in the activity, if no evaporation is being observed or done, then that objective will not be met. So make sure that you get this right. So what I always say to people, even when I teach teaching experience, always start off with your activity. Choose an activity that you feel is a really good activity. Figure out what subject and grade that fits into. Then go create your objectives and your teaching strategy. It just makes it easier to do it that way around. Please take note, I do not require you to give me your worksheets for this specific activity. Although this is not in the format of an essay, we are still checking for academic writing. Are you writing full sentences, or are you writing snippets of a sentence? Is it clear what is going on? Is there coherence within it? Does it flow easily? So that would be just the last 5 marks. So what I did now is I also went and broke it down a little bit easier so that you can see what it is that you need to do, so you can see how we're going to get to the marks. So your grade, is it suitable to pragmatism? Give me 2 facts for 2 marks. The subject, why is it suitable for pragmatism? 3 facts. Together, therefore, 5 points. The objectives is worth 10 marks. So for each objectives, you taking it from CAPS is worth 1 mark, linking it to pragmatism is another mark, and justify its integration is another mark. So if you do that, it comes to 9 marks, and then an overall 1 mark extra just to balance it all out. If you do it this way, there's no way you can't do well in this specific assignment. We move on to your strategies. There needs to be 2 strategies. So the description of the strategy is worth 3 marks. The linking of it to pragmatism is worth 4 marks. So that gives me 7 plus 7, and then an overall 1 mark for logic, just to balance it all out. The activity, which is worth 15 marks, the description of the activity plus the relevant reference would probably be 5 marks. Justifying the action as in how does it integrate with pragmatism is 5 marks. And then linking it to the objectives, telling me how does that activity help you to measure your objectives, is what the other 5 marks would be all about. So in summary, what is it that you need to do? You need to provide the grade and the subject. You need to provide 3 lesson objectives, discuss 2 teaching strategies, and provide me with 1 activity. Here is your rubric that tells you how the mark allocation will work. We move on to question 2. It is also out of 50 marks. The first activity or the first essay was an easy, or first question was an easy one. This is not so easy. So let's move on to critical educational theorist Paulo Freire. We're now busy with critical theory. He says the following things will hamper social progression. With other words, these are the things we don't want to do. Don't misunderstand it. He's not saying this is what we must do. He's saying this is what we should not do. The teacher knows everything and the learner does not know anything. The teacher thinks and the learner memorizes. The teacher acts and the learners imitate his or her actions. I'm not going to read all of them there. You guys can see what's going on. So this is a quote that he says is the stuff that is preventing progression from happening in the world. So here is just a visual picture of what critical theory is all about. So we start off with the teacher should empower students. Empowered students can be liberated from oppression. On the other side of the fist, students should think critically and beyond surface level. Be active, reactive, and proactive. Having students be aware of oppression will also make them aware of the oppressors. So, what is it that you need to do? Considering the above narrative and how it hampers the progress of learners, write an academic essay of no more than 1,000 words. Again, we've looked at it and we allow 1,100 words. And critically discuss how critical pedagogy can transform education in the classroom. So, before we can start this essay, we first need to understand what is a research essay and what is a critical essay. So a research essay is a type of academic writing that explores a specific topic in depth. It involves gathering information from various sources. It's structured with an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. In the introduction, you introduce the topic and present your thesis statement, meaning the main idea that you are going to be using. Please take note, this question 2 is all taking place in the third person. The body paragraphs then present the evidence and the analysis to support this thesis that you've created. You need to do careful research, critical thinking, and proper citation. You need to use a minimum of 3 sources to be able to do this academic writing. And in your 3 sources, you can't say source A says this, B says that, C says that. You have to blend them. You've got to go and identify themes and then write according to that. So a critical discussion is an analytical written piece that examines a topic or issue from multiple perspectives. And that is why it's got to be more than 2. Can't be less than 3. In a critical discussion, you do state your opinion, but it's not just your opinion. Instead, you will evaluate and analyze other people's points of view, their arguments and the evidence that they raise with regards to that specific topic. So, this is generally how you can approach it. It doesn't mean you have to do it like that. It just does make it easier. First, you're going to identify some articles. Like I've taught you guys now to use Google Scholar. You're going to examine the topic or the issue. You're going to break it down into components or themes and consider how do they relate to each other. You're going to assess the strengths and the weaknesses of your arguments that you're going to be reading. And then you're going to synthesize. So synthesize means I now blend it. Remember, I spoke about the blokkies kompas. I don't want a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I actually want you to blend them. So take the blue and the yellow paint, blend them into green and make it your own story, but base it on what was originally blue and yellow. In a critical discussion, it is essential to use logical reasoning, evidence-based arguments, and clear communication to support your analysis and conclusion. What exactly are you supposed to do? Let's go look at the instructions. For 10 marks, define critical pedagogy and discuss the key principles of critical pedagogy. So we're going to start off with a definition and a discussion. In your definition of it, provide a clear definition of what is critical pedagogy. Highlight its focus on challenging power structures, fostering critical thinking, and promoting social justice. Discuss how critical pedagogy differs from traditional teaching approaches. That last step is very important. Then we go look at the key principles of it. So identify and define the key principles of critical pedagogy as outlined by Paulo Freire and other critical educators. Explain how each principle contributes to fostering critical thinking, empowerment, and social change in the classroom. Provide examples or scenarios to demonstrate how these principles can be applied in teaching and learning contexts. Then the bulk of it, as you can see, it counts 30 marks. Write critical analysis of the implications of critical pedagogy for educational transformation. So that is actually now what your essay is supposed to do. So what must we do? I broke it down for you. You don't have 5 different categories. This is just 5 tips on how to answer it. So the first thing you need to do is explore the implications of educational transformation. So examine how will critical pedagogy lead to changes in education. Discuss how it can transform the classroom into spaces where people feel free to express their opinions, for critical thinking, and so forth. Then you need to integrate it with research and with theory. With other words, your 3 articles that you've said. Support your analysis with credible sources and scholarly research. Reference key strategies and pedagogical literature that demonstrate the impact of critical pedagogy on educational transformation. This is going to give your article or your essay depth. Number 3, critically engage and analyze. So evaluate the strengths and the limitation of the concept of critical pedagogy as a transformative, not just on its own, but as a source to try and transform what it is that we do. Address potential challenges such as resistance from traditional education systems or cultural barriers. Consider alternative viewpoints and provide a balanced analysis. Then I'm going to look for number 4, that insight reflection on challenges. Are you identifying this can't really work very well, or this is a concept that could work well if teachers do it correctly? Are you engaging with things properly? And then offer your own insight as well. Okay, so there you would refer to yourself as the writer. The writer feels that, and then whatever it is that you feel. But your arguments must be very, very strong, so that it is easy to understand what is going on. So make sure that you get that right then. Again, you get a mark out of 10 for your academic writing because this is such a serious type of writing piece. So please make sure that you've got an introduction, body, conclusion. You must make use of headings. You must have 1 idea per paragraph. Writing skills we've dealt with enough. Please take note, we specifically in this essay do check for AI tools usage and all the things that go along with that. So a suggested layout, I did not number them for you. You can number it. So it would be 2.1. Let me put the thing on. So that would be 2.1. This will be 2.2. This will be 2.3. And that will be 2.4. So that just makes it easier for you to understand. And that brings me, there are your rubrics on how this will be marked. And that brings us to the end of the discussion of assignment 2.